What is good, everybody? This is your boy Chad bringing y'all another video, man. And in this video, if you're seeing this, I'm off the lockdown and everything like that, and I got these videos pre-recorded so I can always have the content ready to go. I don't care if YouTube censors me anymore. Like, content's gonna keep coming until I'm, I guess, deleted. Anyways, though, this video is going to be about how New York is going to fire all nurses and hospital workers effective at midnight for not being vaccinated, right? So I'm looking, and I don't know who the lady is. If you could see that, that's her right there. She is also the one that said, God gave us the shot, and God is the people. He helped the brilliant minds that made the shot. And now they're like, the shot. But now they're like, okay, unvaccinated nurses and hospital workers, you're fired because you don't want to get vaccinated. And we're going to replace those people with the National Guard. Now, I'm sitting up here thinking, and I'm like, the same heroes of the height of the pandemic last year, right? They're the ones being fired. But in this, and I'm going to play the video on screen as well so y'all can see what she says.
And we'll be nation leading with our mandate, which strikes at midnight tonight, when everyone is expected in a hospital in the state of New York or a healthcare facility to have been vaccinated. I will be signing an executive order to give me the emergency powers necessary to address these shortages where they occur. And that's going to allow me to deploy the National Guard, who are medically trained, deploy people who've been retired, who may have had a license lapse, bring in people from elsewhere. That is not my first position, though, my friends. My desire is to have the people who've been out there continue to work in their jobs, work in them safely, and to all the other healthcare workers who are vaccinated, they also deserve to know that the people they're working with will not get them.
But in the video, she's like, there are shortages in the hospital, and it's like they're creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. There are shortages because you all are firing the nurses and hospital workers. They were the last year's heroes, and now they're this year's demonized. Like I've been saying, they're trying to demonize anyone who's not vaccinated. They're trying to demonize you. They want you to feel like you're the problem. I was talking with one of my friends yesterday, and she was like, yeah, I got the vaccine. And I was like, why'd you get it? Like, earlier this year, you said you're not doing that. You're not going to get the vax. She was like, well, my manager at my health, she works for, she's like a nurse. She was like, my manager kept making it seem like I was the problem. So I went ahead and got it. And I was like, yeah, you really tripping. Like, the fact that he had to pressure you and make you feel bad for you to get it is one of the main reasons you shouldn't be getting it. Then I also see that, like NBA players, like a video that got that one pre-recorded, dropping too, so y'all can see. They're all standing up because they don't want to be vaccinated, and they're like, well, you can't play at home games. And it's like, yo, like, we have to stand up for freedom today, so we'll have it tomorrow. If we just keep letting this stuff happen, then it really won't be any freedom left, you feel me? And they're showing, this lady right here is showing that she can just use God's name to say this is what the Lord wanted, and the Lord blah blah blah. And I'll even play that on the screen as well, so y'all could just see. I forgot kind of what she said in that video, but when you see it, you're gonna be like, yeah, she's really tripping.
I prayed a lot to God during this time, and you know what? God did answer our prayers. He made the smartest men and women, the scientists, the doctors, the researchers. He made them come up with a vaccine. That is from God to us. And we must say, thank you, God. Thank you. And I wear my vaccinated necklace all the time to say, I'm vaccinated. All of you. Yes, I know you're vaccinated. You're the smart ones. But there's people out there who aren't listening to God and what God wants. You know this. You know who they are. I need you to be my apostles. I need you to go out and talk about it and say, we owe this to each other. We love each other. Jesus taught us to love one another. And how do you show that love? But to care about each other enough to say, please get vaccinated because I love you. I want you to live. I want our kids to be safe when they're in schools. I want you to be safe when you go to a doctor's office or to a hospital.
Like, this is clearly the spirit of the Antichrist working overtime for her, saying this is God's way and all this. But when it comes to them firing these workers, it's like, People who condone vaccine mandates, people who condone vaccine passports, they're the same people who have gotten us here. No one's allowed us to get to this point of us firing nurses and hospital staff who they said, we need these workers, but there's shortages in the hospital. I see nurses doing TikToks, nurses walking out, and then they're firing them, but claiming there's a shortage and we don't have enough people to treat the unvaccinated. Joe Biden's like, this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated, but it's already been proven that whether you get vaccinated or not, you still get and spread the virus. So is this really about the science? Is this about the health of people? Or this is about the agenda? If you don't do what we say do, then you're fired. Me personally, fire me. Send me away. You feel me? But they're also doing this so like the workers, they can't get unemployment because they're fired. So they're like, okay, the government, we're going to step in, fire these people because there's shortages. And then they can't get unemployment for us because they were our heroes. Now they're demonized. So they're not going to get unemployment from us because they're fired. Then on top of that, we're going to deploy the National Guard. I'm sitting up here watching America slowly turn into a police state. Like in a second, it's going to be like Australia. In a second, it's going to be like a social credit score. You feel me? Because once you start saying, okay, I got my vaccine passport, what can they say then? They're going to go, the people allowed us to first lock them down for months. Then the people allowed us to force mandates. Then the people allowed us to force vaccine mandates. Then the people allowed us to do vaccine passports. Now they're going to say, well, now we have a social credit system. If you're not vaccinated, and this is just what I believe is coming down the line. If you're not vaccinated and we don't see it on your online chart, then your score is this, you can't do these things. And it's like, that's the way we're headed. Once the government steps in and says, we're here to help, we're going to deploy National Guard to take the place of all the heroes of the height of the pandemic just because they won't get vaccinated. And the thing for me is like, okay, they're not vaccinated, right? But if they have to regularly test while they're at their place of work to see if they have COVID and they test negative, why does it matter? Like, do you need the workers or do you not? Is it about people being healthy or is it about them not following what you say? Because at this point, it's gone past freedom of choice, you feel me? And this is crazy. I don't know if people don't realize that this is crazy. Like, I've been off for a week because of YouTube silencing me or whatever, censoring me. And I'm just seeing all this stuff take place. And it's like, people said that this stuff was conspiracy theory. Like just a couple months ago, Joe Biden said he would not make vaccines mandatory or do mandates. He did exactly that. They said that they would not fire nurses and stuff because they're frontline workers. They need them. They're doing exactly that. They said they would not implement some type of police state. They're doing exactly that, man. And it's happening at a pace that, if we're going to be quite honest with you, this is happening very fast. Like, if you're not paying attention, you're going to be caught off guard. Like, these folks are coming, like how it says in the Bible, Jesus will come like a thief in the night. These folks are coming like thieves in the night, but they're doing it from the Antichrist spirit, right? It's also effective at midnight tonight. Also, Gavin Newsom, right? He was on the verge of being recalled. If you voted for Gavin Newsom to stay, I can't cap, you might be an idiot. But to each their own, right? So New York has vaccine mandates and where you have to show your vaccine passports, right? So Gavin Newsom is getting ready to be recalled. There's nothing happening in LA, right? He wins the recall re-election so he could stay. That same day they implemented vaccine mandates and vaccine passports to be used just like New York. Now, is it a coincidence that they did not announce this before he was supposed to be recalled, but yet when he won, then they implemented it? The same man who told people you can't go see your family on Christmas and Thanksgiving because COVID's out of control, you're on lockdown, but he was caught at his house having a party with all these other people? Hmm. Hmm. It's like the ones who are really working evil. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys how you could find out who's evil. If you have to silence people who go against your narrative, fire people who go against your narrative, force people to do A, B, C, and D, that's blatant evil. Not this has become a battle of good versus evil. And what it is evil has been exposed and it's here. It's right here. Evil's here. But I think it's harder for people to acknowledge this stuff is evil than to identify it's evil. You feel me? So I can see something be like, man, that's evil. But to actually for me, it's like, this is evil. I can acknowledge it and I see it. Other folks see it, but it's like they have a hard time of acknowledging that the side that they were originally with is evil. And you have to acknowledge it, because in your life, are you gonna be evil, or are you gonna be good? You have to choose this day whom you serve. These folks are serving an evil agenda. An evil agenda. And you have to look also at the places that this stuff is happening. Gavin Newsom stayed Democrat. In New York, run by Democrats. And I'm not saying anything bad about Democrats. I'm just like, this is a reoccurring concept. Lori Lightfoot, Chicago. Now, places that do things where it's freedom of choice and stuff, you see they demonize them. Ron DeSantis, Florida. Greg Abbott, Texas. But do you hear anything like this happening where they're talking about some sending in the, what is it? Deploy the National Guard? It's gotten to the point now in America where it's almost like the countries the states that have the most common sense, to me, they just need to gather themselves up and do their own thing. Those who want to be following this indoctrination, this, if you don't do what I say, then you're fired, you're censored, you're this, they can be together. The values of the country are basically sheep and rebels to the system. And when you look at books like 1984, right, you see that the rebels were exterminated because they were consciously knowing what was going on, and they can't have that. And that's what's happening now. Those who consciously know what's going on and not following the narrative to the T, they're fired, they're censored, they can't eat out in restaurants, they can't do this, they can't do that. But those who follow the narrative, they've been so indoctrinated, they go along with it anyway and they don't question it. But I think people are starting to wake up, man. But yeah, I just want to bring that video. Why are we firing last year's heroes for a vaccine? Because they're not vaccinated. And you know what's even crazier? Before the vaccine even came out in the beginning, basically, of 2021, we didn't have the vaccine last year. And they were perfectly fine. Now they're like, it's here. And if you don't agree or you don't take it, you're done. And we're going to implement the government's way to do it. Anytime, I know y'all see comments of people saying, anytime the government is involved or they say we're here to help, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. If the government tells you they're here to help, run. But yeah, man, this has been your boy Chad. Leave y'all comments down below. Did this video in my brother's room just because it's a lot more light in here. But yeah, man, it's been your boy Chad, and I'm out. Peace.